All right, folks, we're back here on the beautiful Upper Chesapeake Bay. Got the privilege of being with Mr. Ian Godwin. Ian is a good friend of mine. I've had the opportunity to work with him for a couple years now in the fishing industry a little bit. I've learned a lot from him. He's the president and CEO of Sport Fishing Ventures Unlimited. He's an interesting guy. He's got a great company. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself, and then we're going to see if we can't go catch some fish.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Ian Godwin. I'm I'm lucky here to be with Chris, one of our pro staff for the SFVU business group. We're real lucky to be able to have some great companies that we represent, and we're going to be able to try to use some of their product today to catch some fish on the Upper Chesapeake Bay. We're here in late fall, November, mid-November. Anytime that you fish in tidal water, tide is the condition no matter what, and we're going to try to fish. We're not too much grass fish, no grass fish right now, although this is a fishery known for it. We're going to fish some wood, and we're going to get that tide falling a little bit and get some wood fish and some crankbait fish probably today. We're going to try to get some crankbait fish off of some rock and some deeper drops. But the key here on tidal water is always fish the falling tide if you can. If you're going to schedule a trip for fun, don't aggravate yourself. Get it when it's falling. That's always a key. And then just come prepared to do a lot of different things. I mean, we'll probably fish crankbaits. We'll fish soft plastics. We'll fish shaky heads. We'll fish ringworms, Senkos. Like I said, there's a lot of different things you can do this time of year in the fall. And as you can see, the weather's decent for us. Well, it's cold. It's going to be cold, but just come prepared, dressed up right. We'll be good to go.
Well, what's the situation right now? I know that this time of year, late fall, fish, a lot of times you find them bunched up. And they're sort of, once you can find them, they're there, but it doesn't seem like that's the case right now.
That's always the key with any fall fishery. You always look for where the bait is, because the bait is where the fish are going to be. But sometimes certain fisheries, they go through what's called the fall funk. And across the country, that happens in almost every place. Almost every viewer is going to know that right off the bat. And when that happens, you get fish that are scattered all over the place, or they get real bait specific, where they're eating just one specific type and size of bait, and that's going to make for tough fishing. When you get that kind of condition, the best thing to do is to get moving. Somebody fishes a crankbait in the front, or a spinnerbait in the front. Maybe a guy fishes a soft plastic, a Senko, or something like that in the back, and just try to hunt down scattered fish.
You want to see if we can catch some of them?
Yeah, let's go catch some.
Let's do it.
Hard left.
Good long, huh?
All right, once you get out past this last buoy section here, you're going to cut to the left. You're heading down to the bridge. You head that direction like this. Hey Chris, let's talk a little bit about yesterday, because I'll tell you what, we had some tough conditions. First off, we had severe post-cold front, and it was cold on the top of us.
It was freezing.
It was freezing cold, and I tell you what.
And windy.
And very windy. And it wasn't as windy as it can get. It can get really windy here on the bay. But those conditions presented some tough, what we call toughest fall fishing type of situations we've had. And yet we were still able to put fish in the boat. And I think the reason why is because we were willing to scramble, right?
You know what it was? It seemed like everything was going against us. We had to leave. I left West Virginia at about 2 o'clock in the morning to get here in time. We were trying to run with the tides and be where we needed to be at the right time. As luck would have it, we get here, we go to where we're going to start fishing, drop the trolling motor, and the cable goes out in the steering column. Fortunately, yeah, it wasn't, a huge tournament, but the hour to 2 hours probably that we lost just really continued to put us behind the 8 ball. But we were able to find just an awesome guy, Mike. Mike was able to jump in there and get us going, get us back together, back out on the water. And we really were just running against the clock from that point. We missed the tides, so we were able, Ian has really great local knowledge of the water here, and we were able to scramble and we came up with a few fish. I'm not sure how, but in between our teeth chattering and the stuff breaking, we caught a few fish.
Proof that nothing beats a blade bait and fall fishing on the flats. Actually, all across the country, 70% of tournaments are won on blade baits. This is a JC's blade bait, 1/4 ounce, silver shiny. Let's see if we can't get his mother. There he is, beautiful fish. Roboworm shaky head fish, right there, baby. Come here, boy. Now look at this. This is hard fighting fish in the middle of November, and a Kistler crankbait rod. Barely hooked him. That's the key. Love the Kistler crankbait magnesium rod. Look at that. And the hook just barely hooked him in. But if you keep that pressure on with that backbone and that small tip, keeps him on. Not quite what we're looking for, but in post cold front, we take it. Oh, fish on. Oh! Oh! That was a good fish. That was a good fish. I saw him. Did you see him?
I saw your rod load.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Ouch. That was the piggy we were looking for. Now we're sitting. Oh, fish on. That's a good fish.
Yes, sir.
That's a very good fish, and I don't got him hooked that good. Here he comes, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, and I lost him again. They're just not eating it real good.
I saw that one. That was a 4-pound.
That was a 4-pound fish right there.
You gonna make me start throwing you?
Hey, don't be Bill dancing him. But it's the third spot, and it does produce. It's on a keeper.
Little fishy in the boat. He was behind something because when I said, yeah, he's got me all frayed up. When I said the hook, fishing was tough, but we scrambled, and it turned out we were able to still catch a few fish even in those conditions.
Yep, and we have to chase tide. I mean, that's tidal water fishing. You got to chase tide, and sometimes you're not always going to get it right. If you're fun fishing, I always recommend that you try to look for that good tide. But if you're not, you're tournament fishing, you got to buckle down. You got to go after it. And we used a lot of different baits. That's the other thing too. We were willing to, we blade bait, crankbait, shaky head, Senko, all kinds of different baits to put some fish in the boat. And we ran a lot of water. I mean, that's the key. When we're sitting here now, probably 50 miles difference in location. We've come down more south in the bay now, and before we were up north out of the Northeast River. So you just never know where you're going to have to go to be able to chase tide and to be able to chase some quality fish. But I think, like you said, we ended up putting some fish in the boat, and we even lost some better fish. When it's tough post-cold front, those fish come up and they barely grab the baits. You can get frustrated real quick, Chris. You know that fishing crankbaits where the fish will just not eat it like they need to, and you get them by one little tiny barb or whatever. You're not going to get every one of those fish in the boat. But I think it also proves that the fish can and will be able. This is late fall too. We're not talking early fall here. We're talking late fall, and the fish are already in a little bit of a funk. And they're scattered quite a bit chasing bait. In some places they're always fall you hear about them stocking up and setting up right in one spot. Well, that doesn't always happen because the bait scatters and quite a bit, and that's what we've had now this last 2-3 weeks, and it's made a lot more tougher. And if you're not willing to to just not fish spots, but go and run and fish a lot of different locations where you think the fish are going to be. I think the one key though, Chris, I think we found almost consistently, it was shallow, but where there was a pretty quick drop to better water, like 8-10 foot of water. Now that don't seem like deep, but on the Upper Bay, 8-10 foot is a deep water.
And it's so important, I think, just to not get frustrated, do what you can. It would have been very easy yesterday when when our teeth were chattering, watching Mike work on the trolling motor, to say, you know, hey, let's go get something to eat and come back out tomorrow.
Yeah,
but we didn't do that, and it worked out. We caught some fish.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you just hit the key again. I want to stress this again. Anybody that's coming to tidal water, even where they are, you have to understand a little bit about tides. Get with someone who knows the tides, and just make sure that you understand it. And understand that there's periods of time when that tide goes right and you're in the right place, you can put 20 pounds in the boat in a matter of 20 minutes. We've seen it many, many times. Don't ever get frustrated when you're fishing tidal water, because there'll be times like you'll think, where are all the fish? And then you come back with the right tide, and like I said, you're putting fish in the boat left and right.
You know, I think my limited experience on these tidal waters, you can't say it enough how much these fish relate to the tide. The most beautiful areas, the most beautiful cover, it's like fishing in a swimming pool. And then that tide changes and then it's lights out. It might be a short period of time, but it's well worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, let's go out there and get some more men today.
Well,
that's what makes a good start. Pretty fish. Fat, pretty, good looking.
Is that fish in the channel, or was he on the
out there? He's out there in that deep. Not quite. They're not quite in yet. We'll wait for the tide. I got it good. This one I got it good. All right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Chesapeake Bay largemouth.
See, that's the value of a good soft crankbait rod. It's a 7.6 Kistler, medium cast helium. Surge, any surge on the fish, you can handle it. Came off of a Bandit crankbait, but I want to show you the crankbait real quick, just so you can see what we do with crankbaits on the bay, which is a good thing to do. Put a red Daiichi on the front and a Sure Set. That stinger hook catches a lot of fish. In fact, that fish was caught with a Sure Set. But look at that fat fish. That's a quality keeper on the Chesapeake Bay.
Why is it so important to have the right rod that's going to match the technique that you use?
Well, that's why Kistler makes technique-specific rods, because there's so many different things you can do with a rod when you have a certain type of feel. I mean, they make everything from dock skippers, which are designed specifically for that real extra fast tip and that real stout backbone to get a fish out from underneath the dock. In this case, he's got
this is a 7-foot
medium heavy, which is like the standard perfect multi-purpose rod. That's a helium, so it's super light and super sensitive. This one happens to be a 7.6 medium, which is extra long. 7.6 obviously great for throwing crankbaits. You want to throw a crankbait a long way so you can get it down quicker, and this tip extra good to keep it in the water, and obviously if the fish surges, to be able to handle that punishing surge, because the fish in the Chesapeake Bay in a lot of places fight hard, and when the tide's going, they'll put it to you, and that extra fast tip will make it so that when the fish surges, you can keep them on good. That bait moving, the tide, and all of a sudden, bango. Mr. Johnson puts the fish in the boat.
It's almost automatic. As soon as that tide starts moving, that those fish, they just start eating.
For a short fish, look how fat this is.
Yeah, that fish isn't that long, but you can see how it just speaks to the health of the fishery, the quality of these fish. That fish weighs probably 1.25 pounds. He's only 13 inches long or so.
Yeah. So what Chris and I are doing today is perfect. I happen to be fishing a crankbait. He's throwing soft plastic. You can throw a jig. a Senko, anything like that. That's a perfect combination if you're team fishing, or if you're tournament fishing, or if you're just fun fishing. Just try to see what the pattern is, see what these fish are doing, and that's important because a lot of times guys will fish their favorite thing, and no matter what, try to force a fish to eat it. It's better to try to get guys to do a couple things. We almost always put the guy that's fishing the reaction bait, the faster bait up front on the trolling motor, and then put the guys fishing slower. And if guys like me will slow down a little bit, guys like Chris will have some time to be able to put them on there too. And of course, the nice thing about fall fishing is you get beautiful weather. You got geese, you got ducks, you got all kinds of stuff all over here. Deer. What
we're neck warmers.
Yeah, we woke up this morning to about 35 degrees and got on the water when it was about 40, and we're probably edging up in 45 right now. But just dress warm, dress in layers. Oh, and look at that. The sure set hook got him. Barely got him. It's an average keeper. Holy fish. All day long. And one of the big misnomers in fall fishing, even this is late fall, we're in almost mid-November, is up here. I mean, obviously it's gauged to wherever you are in the country, but people oftentimes think that fish aren't shallow. We caught a couple earlier today that were up in 3-4 foot of water. Now granted, they have 8, 9, 10 foot of water near them, but they'll get up shallow, especially the bait. The bait gets pushed. Everything in fall is about bait. If you don't have the bait, you're not going to catch fish. You may get a resident straggler every once in a while, but generally they're following the bait no matter what. And that's why we're waiting for bait to come in based on the tide right now.
Yep.
Barely got him.
Open your mouth, girl.
Got him. Ooh, we didn't intend to sell some sure sets, but there you go. Good job.
Another nice Chesapeake Bay keeper.
Beautiful. "13-inch fish, but he is 2 pounds solid. And he is fat.
Boom.
If you could hear him when he dropped into the water, man.
Like a big flat rock.